I remember a lot of random things from my childhood. Dueling shadows with friends in the small thicket behind the playground or in the corners of our dark basements. These places were never able to contain our wild and outlandish imaginations and inevitably spilled out into backyards or into high-speed chases on our bikes after our imaginary assailants through the streets and alleyways. Usually accompanied by a grand and perceived story that would never be on the scale of something like Lord of the Rings or Wheel of Time. Conveniently, however, always being resolved before the setting sun could sink behind the distant trees. That telltale sign that the streetlights were about to flicker to life with that unmistakable hum and our natural alarm clock to be heading home. As I've gotten older, the chances for these kinds of memory-making events have been understandably limited, whether it's due to the growing cynicism brought on by the unignorable events of the world, or just the exhausting weight of adulthood and real-world responsibilities bearing down on me. Or, more realistically, the societal pressure to not be dueling shadows in public places, even though we all still take up those empty wrapping tubes to fend off imaginary foes in our living rooms when no one is looking. Lil Gator Game has in more ways than one made me feel again like a child. Made by a small development team, Mega Wobble, and published by Platonic Friends, Lil Gator Game captures the same sense of childlike wonder and adventure I was only really able to experience when I was younger. The game on a technical level is well done. Cel-shaded graphics will ensure this game will have no issues aging. Fun movement options for climbing basically everything. An adorable running animation, the ability to ragdoll around, the ability to glide in the air with an oversized shirt, or shield surf through the map ensures lots of fun and unique ways to explore the island. Even the most basic movement systems find a way to always be fun and exciting by providing several craftable items that can really change up how you play. Which, on paper, might not sound like a lot, but being able to equip a ninja headband and Naruto run through the trees is just as fun and enjoyable as it sounds, or getting to shield surf on a trampoline that is springing you higher and higher with each bounce. I honestly love all the accessories you get in this game, bubblegum and balloons that allow you to live out that fantasy of floating away, a sticky hand that lets you Spider-Man around, multiple ranged weapons like a simple rock you can skip on the water, a paper ninja star, a definitely not Nerf dart gun, a water gun full of paint. Honestly, everything is just great. End of game also providing additional accessories to ensure you not only found everyone and have completed their quests, but also all the undefeated cardboard enemies. The simple variations as well in weapons, shields, and hats are also fantastically amusing and incredibly enjoyable to use. The writing in this game is fantastic, seemingly self-aware at times and nonsensical at others. Many characters and interactions felt genuine, each with their own unique voice and weirdly reflective of people I remember growing up with. Funny, sad, heartwarming, on the nose. End of the day, I felt that the writing is great. The music throughout the game was also well done and did a wonderful job setting a unique ambience for each area, and was an absolute joy to listen to and never got tiring while keeping me grounded to each of the 5 island areas. On the surface, the game's premise is incredibly straightforward and simple. You are a little gator that has been missing your older sister and the games you'd play before she went off to college, and upon visiting home, you are trying to encourage her to join in on the fun you once had. Naturally, the first attempt doesn't work as she is busy with an assignment, and you spend the rest of a 3 to 4ish hour game trying to convince her otherwise. The game revolves around 4 main quests, starting with a brief tutorial mini-island and then 3 unique areas on a much larger island that see you catching bugs in a forest, some Phoenix Wright-inspired litigation, and fending off a UFO, all while collecting new hats, shields, weapons, and accessories along the way that are all enjoyable and amusing in their own ways. My favorite being a teddy bear that lets you ragdoll on command, a feature that I enjoyed way too much throughout the entirety of the game. The Lil Gator Game is a story of finding new friends, exploring and creating adventure, and accepting that things can't always remain the same. All of this wrapped in a blanket of childhood nostalgia that I feel both the young and old will enjoy, sometimes for different reasons. And if you don't want story spoilers, skip ahead to the time on the screen or use the closing chapter marker. As I said before, the first main quest of the game starts on the tutorial island. Your sister has come home and you are trying to get her to play as you did when you were younger, where she would make a fantasy game adventure around the park and islands for you as the hero. This time, you have gathered your friends to try and help create everything and have a giant grand adventure. From here, you get your first shield and learn you can shield surf on it, your first stick to fend off against the game's ever-oppressive enemies, cardboard cutouts, and an introduction to the crafting functions which use the game's only currency, pieces of paper from your fallen enemies. Along the way, you are also introduced to the game's many side quests and other children of the island, which ultimately work towards the other main goal of the game, gathering everyone to take part in a fantasy adventure with a small town building quest that requires more and more friends to complete. On the small tutorial island, you'll also get access to, in my opinion, one of the best items in the game, and an accessory that I never once removed and quite honestly don't know why isn't always available, this being the teddy bear accessory that lets you ragdoll on command. Not only is this an amazingly fun little feature that is quite frankly hilarious every time it is used, but it also allows you to make forward dives that always end in an amusing tumble. By the end of the tutorial island though, you will quickly learn that there is more to this game than just a small adventure for a little gator. Your sister is stressed over her current assignment as she struggles to complete a group project, for reasons that I'm sure many of us can easily relate to. And if that statement is lost on you, I'm sorry, but you're the reason that we can all relate to this. This ultimately leads to both her and your 3 friends all heading over to the main island for their own individual reasons. One friend focusing on their future with some other friends in their study group, one friend that is trying to fit in with the cool kids and move on from childhood, and one friend that is just trying to balance their own growing friend groups. Below the surface, this game is also a story of growing up and dealing with the things that go along with it. The main island is then split up into 3 parts that can be tackled in any order you wish. Each of the main quests is based around convincing each of your 3 friends to join you with the fantasy game again to try and convince your sister to join in on the fun. The center of the island, a park beneath an easy-to-find antenna that acts as a visual waypoint, is the meeting place for all your friends, both old and new, as you solve each of their quests, both big and small alike. To which you can then use them to help build a fantasy castle area with cardboard and a shocking amount of plywood, complete with market, cathedral, castle, and a juice bar. There's also slides to flail down, a swing set to jump off of, a monkey prison to get stuck in, and a teeter-totter that, well, it teeters and it totters. Look, I still don't know what else they are used for beside that game of chicken where you see who'd jump off first, that inevitably leaves you with trust issues and that undying thirst for revenge. As I said, each area of the main island is split up into 3 parts that can be largely tackled in any order. The mountainous area sits high above everything else and is where you'll wrangle children for a cow kid having to watch their younger siblings, fight off a UFO with a spaceman fending off an alien invasion, and become a vampire apprentice and acquire ice cream from a vendor with something other than greasy fast food bags. All of this to ultimately convince everyone to compromise on what they are doing by setting up a restaurant to really create the necessary drama for the acting group so they can all come together. Good luck to these children, as they are incredibly brave to open a pretend restaurant in an economy where, according to the national average, will have a failure rate of about 30% in the first year alone. The water park area naturally sits down by the water, where you'll have a Phoenix Wright style argument with someone that is too nervous to do more than squawk, help someone gain the confidence to have a real conversation with their friend, definitely by not repeatedly suggesting they watch a 3 decades old TV show at every chance, and an almost fourth wall breaking allegory to help a little magnolia grow. All of this to turn back all the water on for the water park so that the cool kids accept that maybe you don't need to pretend to try hard to be cool while growing up. Or just to realize you're never too old to have fun at a water park. I'm still not entirely sure on that one. The forest is centered around a large tree where you'll go on a quest for a would-be entrepreneur for a yellow triangle, or if you will, half a delicious cheese sandwich. Chase a beetle through the forest for a would-be entomologist who would probably love to sign you up for beetle facts. And an archaeologist looking for help to make a hammer. All culminating with your friend realizing that there could be more to studying and that you can actually have fun while learning. Once the main quests are done and you've collected enough friends by completing other quests along the way, you will finally be able to complete the main area and finally understand just exactly what making and playing this game means to you. You will then explore your memories of when Big Sis wasn't too busy with school and grown-up responsibilities, coming to realize just how much stress and pressure came along with trying to create these fun and enjoyable moments between the two of you. As well, the realization that sometimes growing up means making hard decisions and working towards what you hope is the right choice that will pay off in the end in the face of all the sacrifices along the way. In Big Sis's case, you learn that her dreams are to make a video game that everyone can enjoy, spending years working towards going to a college that will give her the necessary classes and experiences that she needs to achieve this goal. On the surface, Lil Gator Game is a fantastic game that captures what it feels like to be a kid playing in the park again. There is never any threat of real danger, and every quest feels like something you would actually experience with a large group of friends playing imagination at the playground. Under that surface, though, is a story about growth and how we ultimately learn to deal with growing up. Whether it's the loneliness of watching other friends finding new groups or interests, or having to leave certain aspects of our childhood behind whether we want to or not. Lil Gator Game hit home in an incredibly unexpected way. I went in thinking it was just going to be a short adventure game that would lead me to my own devices where I could ragdoll around, beat up cardboard enemies, craft new and childish items, and do little quests all at my own pace. Truthfully, I would have been perfectly happy and satisfied if that is all this game had delivered. However, the story and the main quest felt like a very real mirror to my own experiences growing up, on and off the playground. It was very clear to me after speaking with 2 members of the Mega Wobble team, Scott Slusher and Connor Quinn, that they were very dedicated to delivering an amazing game, and I feel they knocked it straight out of the park with a whole lot of passion and dedication. This game was, without a doubt, my 2022 Game of the Year. Whether you are looking for a relaxing game that will give you complete freedom with very little consequences, or a game that will easily tug at your own nostalgia and speak deeply to the growing pains we all went through, I think Lil Gator Game is probably the perfect game for everyone to look at playing next. If you made it this far, feel free to give a like and subscribe for future videos, and if you also like Lil Gator Game, let me know down below in the comments what your favorite parts were. I'm Link, and I'll see you next time.